incident, I think it was probably November now. Yeah, end of October, early November, which led to a need for a security system, but more of a, let me say, panic buttons for each of the officers, offices, and security cameras. We didn't have anything. We had previously in another office, we had never got that done since we moved to the location we're at. We do that in 2016.
Yeah.
So it was time. It was definitely it was a wake up call that well, at least for me, I didn't want to sit on that anymore. So not having planned for that last June through September during budget time, that's what we're moving to pay for. Commissioner's going to pay for almost half of the install, and we've got the other half of the install. Plus, there is a monthly, because it's Watchman,
Okay.
who everybody's familiar from what that sounds like. So there's a monthly upkeep that's paid biannually. So I think I have that built in here. But that's so when you see that next item on that is. That's really all I have, unless there's any questions for me.
Questions for Matthew?
No.
I appreciate that explanation. That's very helpful. Okay, thank you, sir. That moves us on to our new business where we'll begin the annual cycle of CF1s, which for those who may be joining us online that aren't familiar with the council's review of a CF1, that is the annual reporting from any business entity that is receiving a tax abatement from the county. And at the time that they apply for a tax abatement, they make certain commitments to assess value and or salaries that they will bring to the community. And so this is our opportunity to review that they're doing what they said they were going to do in exchange for a tax abatement. And so we'll begin that process for 2026 with NHK. We have three actual separate different projects that NHK at different points in time has come and asked for abatements on. The first one is the 2020 personal property, and the numbers are very similar on each one because they're obviously referencing the same business entity for each one. But as you'll see, they have done what they said they were going to do and more on both assessed value and salaries for the community. So I think we should probably vote on each of these separately. But Jay is here representing NHK, and I guess before we would get to that point, I guess do you want to present a brief annual update? I know in the past they've made an update.
Yeah, yes. Things seem to be going well. As you said, the 2020 projects had an estimated payroll number of employees of 798, and now they're at 831. It had estimated salaries of $38,823,769, and they are now at $46,493,478. So they've, in terms of exceeding what they promised, they have done that substantially. The same information, of course, it applies to the second part of that project. You had both real property and personal property in the 2020 project, which is the new factory.
Correct.
And then in 2017, they built a warehouse that at one time had some manufacturing in it, and it is also in the county. At that time, they were estimating their employment growth to be to 549, and of course now they're at 831. So you can see over that 3-year period, they had a substantial increase, which is why they had to build a new factory. And again, they went from $25,917,052 in salaries to now they're at $46,493,478. So this is one of the winners.
Definitely, and we like to say that this is how it's supposed to work.
Yes, exactly.
You have a public-private partnership that works out great for both sides.
So we just ask that you approve the statement of benefits so we can attach them to our annual filings.
So I do think, for the record, I'd like to do these one at a time. First on my list is the 2020 project personal property. So I entertain a motion, unless there's any questions, I'll open that up first. Any questions or comments on any of that? Okay, so with that being said, I entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Sorry. Motion to approve. I don't want to presume.
Yes,
Motion to
yes.
approve, okay. Mary with the motion to approve, seconded by Jeff. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 4-0. Now we have the 2020 real property. This would be for the facility itself out there at 28 and 65.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion by Jeff, second by Mike, that we approve 2020 real property. All those in favor, raise your right hand. That motion also carries 4-0. And finally, we have the 2017 real property, which is for the facility here in the industrial park proper.
I'll make that motion.
And Mike's got the motion to approve that one. Do I have a second? Second by Mary. All those in favor, raise your right hand. And that motion carries 4-0. So that takes care of NHK for 2026. We did have one other CF1 on our agenda for today, but that is going to be impacted by our short staffing here today with only 4 members present, and one of the members being Jeff, and the CF1 up for consideration being Chenoweth Real Estate Holdings, of which Jeff has a business interest and would have to recuse himself from that vote. That leaves us with only 3 members left to vote, and therefore I'm going to ask that we table this, and we'll bring it up again in March when we hopefully are more fully staffed. So I do need to have a motion to table the CF1s for Chenoweth Real Estate and Philip Sawn Tool.
I'll make the motion to
Okay.
table.
I have a motion by Mary,
Second.
a second by Mike, that we table that. All those in favor, raise your right hand. That motion carries 4-0. We'll take that up next month.
Thank you.
Thanks, James.
Alan, can I leave the?
Yeah, I'll sign those after we finish. Yeah, okay. We'll get to it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, re-adopt 2026 salary ordinance with corrections. We did send out all of the information for the original version in December, hoping we had everything down to the final I's dotted and T's crossed, but we did find a few things that needed corrected. Some of these were as simple as changing the position descriptions to more accurately reflect changes the council had made. We had a couple of instances where we had a rounding error that we corrected. We had a couple of instances where we had a salary that was split between 2 funding sources, and we had failed to make that split on the hourly rate between the 2 funding sources, so we corrected that. I don't know, I'm going to say 9 or 10 of those types of changes, nothing that I would consider to be material in the sense of, it's just putting into practice what we had previously voted on and making it accurate. So I'm happy to go through those, or more specifically ask the auditor to go through, or deputy auditor to go through any of those if you would like to have a more in-depth discussion about any of those. They're highlighted for your convenience on what those are. Janet, you went through a couple of things with me real quick, but anything that you would make special note of, they were all very much just administrative corrections.
No, I mean, it's kind of continuing the cycle. I mean, it usually takes a couple of rounds to make sure, even though many eyes look over this, and there's many numbers that get computed, things get missed. And so we're just trying to make it as accurate as possible to reflect what people are actually getting paid. There's no deviation from what was approved in the budget. It's just making sure that the ordinance
Reflects the budget correctly. Okay. And this obviously is available if anybody wants to review, but I'm not going to take the time to go through each one of those administrative changes. I kind of hit on the high points there. With that being said, if everybody feels like they feel comfortable with those changes and that it accurately reflects what we decided earlier as a council for the budget, I would entertain a motion to approve those changes on the salary ordinance.
Motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion by Jeff to approve those changes. A second by Mary. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, February is always a unique month on the council calendar because we get to have the pleasure of doing encumbrances. And again, for those maybe not familiar with county budgeting, an encumbrance is an accounting principle that allows us to essentially reach back in time and pay bills that were received in the last days of 2025, reaching back and crediting the expense of paying those bills against the 2025 budget and not applying them against the current year 2026 budget. And we have, the requirements are that an invoice had to be received by the end of 2025 or a contract had to be signed by the end of 2025. And the visual aid, this is my stack of our encumbrances that we have as of the end of the last couple of weeks, I guess I'll say, of 2025. We have them summarized on a form that you had the opportunity to review in your packets. Total encumbrances for the entirety of the county budget, $364,377.39. Obviously, I'm not going to take the time to review each of those, but I will briefly just say that, I might just do some of the totals. General fund, Sheriff's Department, $24,980. Surveyor's office, $21.98. Prosecutor, $999.11. Commissioners, $2,500. Area plan, $5,498. IT, $13,737. Courthouse, $650. Circuit Court, $2,849. EMA, $5,400. Jail budget, $24,414. Parkview, $149. Cume Cap Development, $2,435. EMS, $7,699. Local Public Health Services, $11,900. Lit Correctional Facility, I do want to make a quick note. It's a big number, but it was an expected big number. $192,460. This represents the software program upgrade that we had authorized earlier in the year and didn't get billed till right at the end of the year for the jail. Lit EMS, $16,726. Surveyor user fees, $2,180. Federal inmate, $48,169. 4D child support, $1,650. $1,605, I'm sorry. And that all totals up to the $364,377. And again, we've given, hopefully, I did take the opportunity to take the chance to go through each one of those and didn't see anything that looked inappropriate or out of place there. And so they're available for inspection by any member of the public that would like to see that. Any questions on any of those expenses that were submitted as end of the year encumbrance requests?
Motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion by Jeff to approve the slate of encumbrances. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mike with the second. Last call for questions or explanations. Okay, seeing and hearing none. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 4-0. I think that I'm right in saying then, Brett, that officially wraps up the 25 budget.
It
correct?
does, yes.
Okay. Now, additional appropriations. As we look forward again. Are you with me? Beginning with the county general fund. $30,000, this is from the cash balance of the general fund for money. It's a new budgeted item to pay for storage costs for courthouse furniture that is being housed off-site during remodeling. And quite frankly, this was something I'm not sure we knew what the amount was going to be ahead of time, because this would represent all of the furniture that was previously in the courthouse that could not fit in the third floor of this building as we transferred to our temporary housing, and so we had to put it somewhere. So this is the cost for temporary storage costs for courthouse furniture during the remodeling of courthouse. $270 from EMA from cash to equipment supplies. This is actually an appropriation of some money that we got from scrapping an old vehicle that had been used for extrication training. Parkview Home, $49.87, a rebate check that we received from the group purchasing organization for food. I believe that is all for the general fund, totaling $30,319.87. Moving on to Parkview Home County Home Gifts Fund, we had two donations, $310 and $250 for a total of $560 that goes to the County Home Gift Fund. Each year, once a year, we have to approve a budget for our local emergency planning committee that we refer to as LEPC. They get money from various sources, but we once a year put this into some line items that they have access to throughout the year. This is the group of our public safety officials that gets together and does, well, they essentially do disaster planning for things that we don't ever want to think about. Somebody sits down and they spend some time thinking about how we would react to certain chemical or weather or other types of natural disasters that what the county's response would be. So we have their submitted budget being $500 for supplies, $500 for stationery and printing, $5,000 for emergency planning, meeting stipends at $1,500, training at $6,864, postage $50, seminars $1,000, equipment $4,864.15, and computers and peripheral devices $1,000, for a total budget for 2026 of $21,278. And Renee has sent her regrets. She's in a conference today, but was happy to answer any questions that you may have on that if you want to catch her at another time. Clinton County Highway Department. This is from the bridge, or let's see, 1137 highway restricted, I'm sorry, reappropriating funds to cover the cost of repairs on Bridge 60. Now, this is money that we had appropriated in 2025 that didn't get spent, so we're now reappropriating to put it in a proper line item in had it in 25, we're appropriating it for 26. Sheriff's Office lit correctional facilities, $45,000 for inmate medical, and I've had several conversations with the matron, and we got kind of a, I don't know what to call it, a data dump of some sort, where Medicare or Medicaid sent us a very large, going back multiple years of claims that they were denying or asking us to rerun and refigure, and so we've got this kind of slug of costs that we're having to do an additional appropriation on because it far exceeds what we had in the budget for inmate medical. So $45,000 there. Probation, $3,208.99 for drug testing. It's the remaining amount for the 25 grant that we're putting back into the appropriate for use in 26. The jury, we have the court system has a jury fund, and Judge Moeller is requesting $25,000 be appropriated from that jury fund for use for any jury expenses that may occur during 2026. Surveyor's Office, $129.34. This is the money we received from Howard County for their share of a drain maintenance fund. Sheriff's sale, $10,000. This is, the fund represents sheriff's sale proceeds. The $10,000 appropriation is to use to cover sheriff's sale costs for sheriff's sales that may happen during 2026. This is, which fund is this? Which fund is 4967?
Sheriff fees for inmate medical.
Oh, yeah, okay. This is more of those medical bills, $10,995. Again, sending from that actually dedicated inmate medical fund, doing the most that we could from that fund. Wildcat Solid Waste District. This is the quarterly payroll for the last quarter of 2025, $73,354.01. As we talked about before, we run that payroll through the county system. Child support is $5,604. This is for 1 year's worth of rent at Old Stony. We had to have child support be housed separately from the remainder of the prosecutor's office on the third floor of this building for certain statutory requirements that required separations, and there are legal protections for the clients of that service that we couldn't meet upstairs, and so we had to seek some space at Old Stony for, during the time of our renovation. Okay, that is the list of additional appropriations for February. Any questions on any of those? Fairly straightforward this month. With no questions, I entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I have Mary with the motion, and do I have a second? Second by Jeff. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 4-0. We just have a couple of transfers that require our attention. From area plan, $2,720 from plan seminars to plan software, $157.98 from education to plan software. And then on the CASA budget, child advocate budget, $657.95 from training to equipment, which I'm gonna guess is for a laptop or something.
Motion to approve transfers?
Have a motion by Jeff, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike to approve those transfers. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 4-0 there. We always try to have for the record that we've received and reviewed the financial and budget status reports from the auditor. Those have been in your packet. Hopefully you've had a chance to review those. If you feel comfortable doing so, I'd entertain a motion just acknowledging that we received those from the auditor. That way we can let the State Board of Accounts know that we received them.
So moved.
I think I had Mike first with the motion and Jeff then with the second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. That motion carries 4-0. We'll get that in the record. We're moving quickly. That moves us to council reports. I have, I did want to report that last month we had a discussion, we had a presentation from Renee about the need to upgrade our server, this dispatch server, and that we were working closely with the city, given that that server housed information for both our public safety departments and also the city's police department, and to some lesser extent to the fire department. We did reach an interlocal, or the commissioners did reach an interlocal agreement that has been signed and approved, and I just wanted to report on that. That did indicate that the city was gonna pay half of the cost of that server. We're gonna have some flexibility with them on the repayment schedule. The intent was to wait and see whether there was going to be a special distribution of public safety income tax funds this year that we find out later this spring. So we're gonna defer that repayment until we know whether that additional source of funding might be available, because that would really help both sides, but it would help the city on covering their half of the expense. So I just wanted to report that to the council. Any other council reports that anybody may have? Okay. We have two commissioners with us today. Any commissioner report?
I have nothing. No, not anything.
Well, we're flying today. Department heads, any department heads need time with the council today? Sheriff Kelly,
I would think so.
you keep your streak alive.
Right, keep it. It's all good, once somewhere.
Yeah.
Commissioners don't like half of it, but it's all, it's a needed thing. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to, just talk real quickly about, a couple things that we have maintenance-wise at the jail. We have three sets of, I'm gonna say chillers. The coils are bad. They can't be replaced, or they can't be repaired. They've been repaired multiple times, and they're at a point where they just can't be repaired anymore. And we're looking at, QPH came in to look at it, and they've given us an estimate of $43,164 to replace those units. They're down in the basement. We had a few inches of water, and thank goodness it's in the basement, but what we do have in that general area is a lot of electricity, so it just, water and electric does not mix, and so I'm hoping there's no further damage that will incur later down the road with that water running down into the conduit, those types of things. But we shut the water off to those chillers, and that's the AC portion of the system, so typically we turn the air conditioning on across
Is that 43,000, is that the whole project? Is that labor or is that?
That should be everything. It's, replaces, 2 coils, disconnect and remove all the damaged coils, provide and install new replacement coils, reconnect everything, obviously, verify the operation, and, lead time 20 weeks.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're gonna be pushing into June, July before it's even available to turn off. So, we're at a point where we do have to, figure something, so.
Well, I think given that lead time, we should probably take a consensus vote that we're okay with authorizing that purchase, because I don't want you to have to wait another 4 weeks. Actually, it's 5 weeks because we don't meet till the 3rd week of March. So given that report, I guess I would entertain a motion to support, maybe enough, to give you a little flexibility, I might even suggest we do a not to exceed $50,000 to repair the chiller, for the chiller project, we'll call it that.
Okay.
At the jail. Does anybody care to make that motion?
I'll make that motion, not to exceed 50,000.
And I guess I would even, maybe for now, we leave it open-ended with the fund to be determined later. I want to go review those numbers to determine which fund would be the most appropriate to pull that from, but.
Very good.
So we had a motion by Mary, we had a second by Jeff to support that. That would put the ball to the commissioners to move forward as they see fit. So all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 4-0, so we'll get you there.
Thank you. And just a service agreement on the generator, I'm going to share that with the commissioners. I'll talk offline with those gentlemen, and we'll get that taken care of. I do have the copy of the commissary annual report, and I know I emailed it to you, but I wanted to give you folks a copy. Just hand this to the boss here. There you go. So, and if you do have any questions or anything like that, just email me, call me, stop over, and that's really about, that's almost it. We are in the process of hiring 3 new deputies, and 2 of them, well, I'm gonna say all of them are local. Cale Allball has been selected and offered a conditional offer. He works currently in our facility as a corrections officer, and went to Clinton Central, great guy, and just a fantastic employee. Mo Garcia, he is a local gentleman that has done an outstanding job and made it through the process. And our last one is Josh Smith, and Josh is actually just across the line into Howard County, right there in Forest. So, I mean, and I'm literally, he is like 2 blocks away from our county line. So pretty happy about that, and the process went really well. We had some outstanding people there at the end, and it really boiled down to backgrounds, things like that, but also their interviews with the mayor board and also with the deputies. So went fantastic. So looking forward to getting those folks on board. They have to do their medical, which is a physical, where they check and make sure there's nothing outstanding in their medical history where we keep them from doing the job, and also a psychological evaluation. So fantastic. I think it's going to be a great group of young men that we're bringing in there.
Okay.
Any questions for me? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thanks.
Any other department heads need time with the council? Got a couple in the room. Well, I wish they were all like this. Does anybody in general need any time with the council for today? Okay, well, this is close to record time, 31 minutes, if I read the clock correctly back there. I have no further business for the council, and if no one else has anything to bring to our attention, we'll call this meeting adjourned.